I often say that I would not like to be a teenager today growing up with the environment dominated by social media. I mean, it was bad enough by the time I got to secondary school that everyone did have a phone, and then by the time I left secondary school, everyone had a smartphone. There is no doubt that the threats to children in our country have been utterly transformed in just the last decade, and therefore we need to transform how we address those issues in this place. So I certainly support the thrust of the bill presented before us today. The government must treat children's use of digital devices and social media as a health issue. Children are spending more and more of their lives on social media at younger and younger ages. Those aged 12 to 15 spend on average 35 hours a week on their smartphone. Yes, 35 hours a week. And we know that poor mental health has spiked amongst young people in the last 15 years. But I do have some concerns about the proposal before us today. Whilst I fully respect the member for Whitehaven and Workington's intentions for the bill and passion for the issue, I am frustrated that it does not seek to make any changes to the current situation. It places a duty on the Secretary of State to publish a plan for research into the impact of the use of social media within 12 months. And just on that specific point, just in general, I think this is where the public get really frustrated with Parliament and politicians about the fact that we're going to say we're going to do some research or we're going to have a meeting. I think the public want to see action in lots of the areas that we speak about in this place. And there has been a massive consensus for the work that the Honourable Member has done by bringing forward this bill today from all sides of the Chamber. And I think there is a consensus from those who have spoken today about the need to go further and faster on this issue, and I will certainly be supporting the member in doing that. But the bill does just contain a feeble instruction. For parents and kids struggling now, would they be comforted by the publication of merely a plan for research into the topic as far away as the middle of 2026? Indeed, the government, as we have already heard, has established a research project and it's due to report its findings in May. So do we really need to add to the statute book to ask the government to do this? I also fear, Madam Deputy Speaker, that this bill will simply outsource decision-making to others rather than allowing the elected Parliament, parents and children themselves to contribute to a policy solution on this issue. Rather than publishing a plan for research in the next 12 months, would it not be better if the government came forward with a proposal, for example, increasing the digital age of consent to this Parliament so we could debate it? Also, Madam Deputy Speaker, this bill mentions consultation with Ofcom and the Information Commissioner. It should be members of Parliament representing families in our constituencies that ultimately make a decision on the right course of action. So I hope, if this bill does pass, that Parliament will be consulted before any changes are made. We can all agree that there is a serious problem affecting society and younger generations as a whole. But because we can all agree on that, I believe we need to see firm proposals from the government coming forward, not just more research. And I completely concurred with what my honourable friend, the member for Reigate, said earlier. I will not be standing on these benches often calling for government intervention in issues, but this issue has become so great to lots of members in our society that I feel that we do need to legislate in this area, because it has been quite clear over the short to medium term that social media companies have failed to step up and do more, because they could do more without legislation. They could be more proactive about it. They have failed to do that. So I do think the time is now right. And hopefully what we can take away from today is the fact that we have had a debate, the fact that we have aired some of those grievances around the harms that social media does to younger generations in this country. And hopefully, by the time this proposal comes back within 12 months, social media companies, I hope, and I do live in hope, that they've solved some of the issues and worked harder and faster in the fear that legislation is coming. And I hope legislation will come. And I think we all have skin in the game. My sister has recently given birth. I'm now an uncle, so I do have skin in the game. So we have got to act, because I fear if we don't act, we will let down not only generations that are coming through the education system now, we will let down future generations, like my niece, that haven't even started in the education system. So I fully support lots of comments in the House today, but I do urge the member, please keep going and come forward and help the government come forward with some stern proposals on this issue, because I do believe, as I've said, there is cross-party support amongst everyone that's spoken today that we need to go faster to solve this issue and hopefully save future generations that are coming through the education system and wider society. Thank you.